In 1994, Magic the Gathering created an opening for lots of new people to come into the industry. Kickstarter is doing a very similar thing right now. Now, there's lots of topics we could talk about related to Kickstarter, but for you to understand them, you sort of need to know how the money flows through the system first. So you're looking on Kickstarter and you see Uber Schneebel. It's a great big box game. It costs $100. It looks great. So you back it. Well, what happens to your $100? Well, the first thing that happens is Kickstarter and credit card companies take some of that money, leaving about 91 of those dollars to go right to the publisher. That's about twice what the publisher would get if they sold that same game through the traditional three-tier system. But there are some expenses that Kickstarter companies have that traditional three-tier publishers don't. And the biggest of those is shipping. Now, Amazon has sort of spoiled us, making us all think shipping is free and fast and easy. Well, it's not free, it can be very slow, and it's very expensive. A big game like Uber Schneebel could easily cost $24 to $25 to ship when it's all said and done, after paying for shipping and maybe a fulfillment service and maybe a pledge tracker. I mean, it gets really expensive. And I know that some Kickstarters are charging shipping separately now, but either way, that cost needs to be spent. So if your backing was for $100, you should expect 23 to 25 of them to go towards shipping. There are some things companies can do to raise and lower those numbers, but that's a pretty safe estimate. So now the publisher has about $67. That's still more than the three-tier system, but there are still more costs for us to look at, both dollars and time costs. Working with printers on very complex Kickstarters with lots of stretch goals can definitely take a lot of time. Additionally, marketing for a Kickstarter campaign can take a lot more time than a traditional three-tier product would get. And those videos you see at the top of those Kickstarters, they're not free. They can cost thousands of dollars as well. And then there's the cost of interacting with your backers. During a campaign, publishers are basically managing backers 24/7, answering questions, doing updates, and all the rest. After the campaign's over, the work doesn't stop because you still have updates while you're working on the product, constantly keeping them updated on what's going on and answering any questions they have. And then you ship product and you think, publisher's done. Now the hard work just starts. In the three-tier system, the retailers and the distributors, they handle the bulk of the customer service problems. But for crowdfunding companies, all of those problems fall to the publisher. If a box gets damaged in shipping, publisher. If a box is missing 2 dice, publisher. If someone just doesn't like their game, publisher. If someone doesn't fill out their address or fills out their address wrong, publisher, publisher, publisher. All of these issues become the job of the publisher, and they can take a tremendous amount of time and a fair amount of money if it involves reshipping product. There is an upside, though. Being that close to all your customers, you have the potential to create a great community. But either way, it's going to take a lot of time. Quick note to game designers out there, if you're getting a royalty on a game design for a product that gets published on Kickstarter, most companies are now paying the royalty on that $91, which is actually really good for you. Well, what does all of this mean to you? Well, if you want to get into the gaming industry, there's never been a better time than right now. With more games being made than ever, that means there's more demand for art and artists. There's more demand for game designers. There's more demand for graphic designers. There's more demand for video production people. There's more demand for logistics and printing coordinators. There's just a lot of possibilities for you to walk in to either a company or to start your own company. In my opinion, the #1 job opening right now is social media coordinator. Social media is the #1 way to market Kickstarter games, and I know a lot of companies that are looking for experts in that space. Crowdfunding has even allowed people like me, people who've been in the industry for decades, to try something new. It has allowed me to start Fun to 11 with my friend Jay, where we get to make games we like with people we want to make them with, all while keeping our fairly demanding day jobs. That would not have been possible without crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is still fairly new. We haven't seen all the effects shake out just yet. But if there's some part of it you want me to cover, leave a comment and I'll put it on our board of ideas. Thanks so much, and I hope to see you next time.